Oh, hello everybody. Yeah, I decided to make another video. What am I like a YouTuber now? This is like 2 in 1 day. Might be free. I can't remember. This one's gonna be a bit more serious. So, and it's not gonna be with anything to do with wrestling. So if that's not your jam, that's fine. You can leave. I'm not gonna be mad about it or anything. Let me get. Oh. Today, this is a video I've been planning for a while. With my slow fucking ass, I finally got around to it. Basically, I'm gonna be defining several terms that I think most people know, but I feel like I can, hopefully, if you don't know or you're not quite that aware, educate a little bit on it. I don't want to sound like an asshole, like I'm uptight, stuck up, thinking I can educate. I just mean if you don't know, maybe you come across this video and you find out something you didn't know. Blah, 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 blah. Easy enough for me to say. And this all came about because somebody on Twitter asked me what the word cis means. CIS, by the way. Cis. Not cis as in sister. So I decided I'm going to make a video defining what the word cis means. And to kind of do that, I have to define other words too. Or at least other ideas. So let me explain. I'll start with cis. Because that's basically the heart of the video. If you will. Also, cis is short for cisgender. Cisgender. And basically, first thing we're going to use, I'm going to use some sources and stuff on this. This is Healthline, a site called Healthline. I'm not subscribing, sorry. Okay. What does cisgender mean? The prefix cis means on the same side as. So while people who are transgender move across genders, people who are cisgender remain on the same side with the gender they were additionally identified as at birth. Or to put it more simply, cisgender people, we are, because I'm cis, we are the people, we identify as the gender we were assigned at birth. Now that leads to the question you might be asking, what is assigned gender at birth? Well, basically when you're born, a doctor is going to decide, just by looking at you, that you're a man or a woman. And not everybody is a man or a woman, but they don't know that yet. And because also you wouldn't know because you're a baby, obviously. You might not know for a while, obviously. So they assign you a gender without knowing for sure on that. In the same way, like they're not going to know, because, the way you're going to look when you're older or anything like that. So anyway, I feel like that point was kind of weird. But that's what assigned gender birth means. It basically means assigned the gender you were assigned by a doctor when you were born. And if you are cisgender or cis, then you always feel that gender. I always feel like a man. I always feel like a dude, a guy, a bro, whatever. But if you are not cisgender, then you would be transgender. And transgender would mean that you don't feel. Well, it's more than a feeling. It's a knowledge that you're not that gender. Now, keep in mind, I can only define trans and explain it in a way that a cis person can because I can't experience it personally. But I will go with what I've been told by friends and what I understand from people online who talked about it and some people I've talked to. Basically, the best way I can think to describe it, and it's kind of hard to explain, especially because I'm not experiencing it, but it's just like something in the same way that I know. I know that I know I love pizza. That's a really bad example, but I know that the sky is blue. I know that the sun is gonna be in the sky tomorrow. Like it's a knowledge in your head that you know. But in this case, you are not the gender you were assigned. You are a different gender. It's more than a feeling. They feel it, but it's also a knowledge. Know what I mean? Well, to put it better, I'll try to compare it to. Obviously, this isn't the same thing because sexuality and gender are different, but just because it's what I have to work with here, I guess to try to use it to explain better. Basically, since I was 5 years old, I knew I was attracted to women. But When I got 14, I knew I was attracted to men, and then I didn't know non-binary people existed till much later. Once I knew they existed, I was attracted to them too, which is why I'm pansexual. It's black. Which there's people who could be attracted to non-binary people who don't identify as pansexual too. That's a whole other discussion. But that's the best way I can think of it, is that I knew these things. Like I wouldn't have to be told. Basically, I felt them too. Like I felt attraction to people, but I knew. Like I knew it in my soul, in my heart, in my brain, whatever you want to say, in my bones, in my blood. It was there. It was encoded like a code, if you will. That is essentially what it means. Is that someone who's trans knows they are not the gender they were assigned. They are another gender. Now, they can be, from what I understand, if someone who is non-binary is also trans. So that could be one, or it can be someone who was assigned a male birth or female birth, a male assigned a male birth, and they know they're a woman, or they're assigned a female birth, they know they're men. That's the basic gist of it. So that would be the opposite of cisgender. I feel like I was going to say more. Oh, okay, well, yeah, the other thing I want to talk about, and it goes along with this, and I was asked questions about this too, is that if you're a sissy like me, let's say you're heterosexual, you're straight, regardless, let's say you're a man, and if you find yourself attracted to a trans woman, would that make you gay? And my answer would be, no, it wouldn't. At least not that by its own self, because trans women are women, and trans men are men, and non-binary people are non-binary. But the only way it would is that if you are already having feelings for opposite sexes. But I was asked that question, I thought I would answer there. It's a thing that comes up a lot, and it's something I didn't really know at first. When I first started calling myself pansexual, I thought it meant that you were attracted to men, women, and trans people, and I feel really stupid for thinking that, which is why I guess I'm glad I'm going to bring this up, because I think more people should know that's not what it means. It means basically you're attracted to anybody regardless of their gender. Essentially what pansexual means, a bonus definition, if you will. You get bonus content, baby. Yeah. Anyway. Where was I? Fuck, I'm losing my place. But yeah, so somebody who, if you're attracted to a woman, basically, it doesn't matter what's in her pants. That doesn't mean, if you're a man, that doesn't mean necessarily, if they don't have a vagina, you're not straight. Just like if you're a woman attracted to a man and they don't have a penis, that doesn't mean you're not straight. Because genitals are just genitals. That doesn't make a person any more than a heart, or a brain, or any body part makes a person. They're just parts of the whole. In this case, this doesn't make them that gender. And let me see. That's why I wanted to cover that, because it is a question that seems to come up a lot. And so there is a thing that's called genital preference, where you might prefer a certain set of genitals to the other. And that's a whole separate thing. In that case, yeah, that's different. So if you're attracted to genitals that's the same genitals that you have, I don't know for sure if that would mean that you're not straight. I don't know that. So I don't really have the answer for that. I think it would kind of depend on if it was a woman who had the genitals, or it was, or in the case if you're a straight guy, I guess, if it was a woman or a man. If it's non-binary, as far as I know, if you can be attracted to a non-binary person and be basically any sexuality, you could be straight. And there's also gender. I haven't mentioned like gender fluid and agender, which are different genders too, because I don't know a lot about those. But that one I can't really say a lot about. As far as I go on that, I don't know a lot about it. But yes, those would be separate categories too. I don't know where that would fall on the line of sexuality. Like if you were attracted to someone who was agender, I would assume you'd be pansexual then, but I don't know. And also keep in mind, you don't have to use these words yourself for your sexuality. If you're attracted to people regardless of gender, you don't have to call yourself pansexual, or it's sometimes called omnisexual, which sounds kind of cooler than pansexual. But then you don't get the pan pun. So, but also you can call yourself bi, or pretty much whatever you like. If you want to make a new term, that's fine. I don't think it really matters. That doesn't bother me. There's like things like bi lesbians exist, pan lesbians. That's fine. That's a separate thing. Basically, it's just someone who is attracted to more than one sex, but they feel more attraction, or at least more comfortable to their own sex at that point. Like if it's a woman more attracted to another woman, they still have the attraction for men. Now I would never call myself that because I like everybody anyway, so it's hard for me to pin down even one thing. I mean, if the closest would be like if I was dating a woman, I wouldn't call myself. It would sound weird anyway. Call myself pan straight or whatever. I just don't like that term. Sounds ridiculous. But if you like doing that, that's fine. If that's, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody for valid sexualities, because all sexualities are valid, except of course like fucking pedophiles and necrophiles and zoophiles. No, y'all are fucking disgusting. Y'all are fucking horrible, and don't come anywhere near the queer community because we don't fucking want you. We want to bury you 6 feet, motherfuckers. Well, maybe not that. That might be too harsh if they haven't hurt anybody, but just don't come near us and don't try to claim anything. But yeah, kind of went off the rails tonight. But I mean, that's my take on it. All sexualities and all genders are valid, in my opinion. And I think I'm kind of done here. I think there's anything else I'm forgetting. Well, basically, I did kind of want to say, even though it's not necessarily what I'm talking about, is that when it comes to cis, also there's some things that this is kind of more of a side thing. As far as gender goes, like, I just want to cover some basics that you might think is for, again, I'm a cis guy, so don't take just my word on this. This is my opinions on it. Some things that you might think make you trans, but I don't think are, at least by their own self. Like, there's people that maybe like to dress up more in women's clothing. I mean, men, I should say men, yeah, I say people with men. Or I guess women that wear more traditional men's clothing, and you might think that makes you. It doesn't necessarily make you trans, in my opinion. If you have a feeling in yourself, and all like you know, the infamous quote, "A splinter in your mind, driving you mad," from the Matrix, written by trans women too. But if that's how you feel, that's different. But if that by itself doesn't mean, like if you kind of like if you're a guy and you like wearing wrong panties sometimes, I don't think that makes you automatically trans. It might make you a femboy. Which is kind of it. Which femboys can be trans, but not all are. But you could still be cis. That basically, I guess I would say, like you got to kind of understand yourself. But I just wanted to point out because I think that's a common misconception that's believed a lot. Like, well, the whole thing with Harry Styles wearing a dress recently. Like, the guy can wear a dress. That doesn't mean that the guy is automatically a trans or as a woman, or even is non-binary or anything. It could still just be a man or still be cis. It could mean they just like the dress, or they want to wear it, or it's a photo shoot. Because, like, the thing, too, is, like, if you think about it, well, at least when I grew up, because I'm pretty old, like, women wearing tank tops, or women wearing men's boxer shorts was never a big deal, but for some reason, yeah, if a guy wears a girl's underwear, that's viewed as even, I wouldn't even say wearing bra panties would make you gay. You can still be straight, wear bra panties, that doesn't matter if you're a man. Just like a woman can wear guy's clothes, that doesn't make her a lesbian. From back in my day, like usually if a woman was wearing a guy's clothes because she was with the guy and she was kind of stealing his clothes. Sometimes doubling her wardrobe, which is fine. I mean, that's cool. But that's my point. Is that in my opinion, clothes shouldn't be gendered anyway. And there's a lot of stuff that really shouldn't be gendered, and we as a society have gotten so used to it. And this isn't me trying to be preachy. I just think we need to move past that point. Obviously, there's going to be some part of it that's always going to be there. Like, we need to move past and get past the idea that, like, a dress is a woman's clothing. It can be anybody's clothing. Especially for people who do not identify as man or woman. Non-binary, agender, or gender fluid. Or any other. There's probably more genders that I don't know off the top of my head. So any of those, like, we need to, as a society, kind of move past gendering things like that. And same with toys and stuff like that. Like, I saw people making a big stink about California getting rid of boys and girls toys, like put them all genderless, and like what does it matter? What is the big deal? Toys are toys. Like you could do that. I mean, on the one hand, I think it's kind of an unnecessary step, but I do like the idea it's kind of destroying gender norms because I like that. But also seeing people freak out about it to me is funny because like who gives a shit? You can put Marvel Legends next to Barbie dolls, and I don't think it's gonna matter. Like it's not gonna hurt anybody. I think what hurts people more is the idea of parents and general adults and just the general atmosphere of people still thinking there's something wrong with a guy or a boy in this case playing with a doll or a girl playing with an action figure like in a car or whatever. Like no, there's nothing wrong with that. Just like there's nothing wrong with wearing different clothes. Like personally, I wouldn't mind having a skirt myself. Maybe one day, who knows? Maybe I'll wear one. Don't know if I'd be that safe around where I live, but I mean, I don't think it's where I live isn't that dangerous. I don't want to make it sound like it's really that dangerous here. It's just that I don't know people's reaction. That's more me being kind of scared myself. Whatever. That's my thing. I was going to say also that, and what else is there? I mean, I don't know if there's anything else I can say about this, about cisness, if you will. The only thing is that whole thing that I just said about gender clothing. Yeah, for years, for decades, I think this is still a lot of people's minds that men dressing up as women were either just gay, and some are trans that dress up as women. I should say trans women that dress up to their first trying out, to first put on women's clothing, to kind of discover themselves. There might be some like that, just trying it out first. But for years, it was a very bad stereotype that men dressing as women were just doing that because they were just gay. They were doing it to look like women. So that thing has kind of permeated to this day. And you have idiot transphobes and TERFs dominating a conversation that trans women are still just men dressing as women, which is horribly disgusting and inaccurate. And there's a word they used to call them that isn't really appropriate anymore. I won't say it, but it's TSV. TSVT is like the initials for it. And in the U.S., you could actually get arrested for that. Because our country is a fucking joke. And always has been. You couldn't get arrested, I think, since like the 1990s something. But just the fact that there's a law that you could be arrested for dressing a certain way shows that, yeah, all these fucking idiot conservatives talking about cancel culture. Fuck you. This shit's always existed. And it's been a lot worse than people getting kicked off Twitter, you dumbasses. Sorry, a little side note. But my point is that I think, even though it's mostly TERFs and transphobes spreading that narrative still, because that idea is prevalent and it's in a lot of old movies and shows, it's still kind of around, and that's not the case. That's why I want to bring that stuff up, that you can dress however you want to. It doesn't change it doesn't necessarily make you cis or trans, is my point. It doesn't change who you are as a person. If it makes you feel better, that would be my point. That's fine. If it makes you feel better, do what you want to make you feel better, as long as you're not bothering nobody or hurting nobody. And the case goes to the people too, like, leave people the fuck alone. Let them do what they want. But, at the same time, you don't have to put the label on it as cis or trans. It could be however some... And again, if you're somebody and you want to wear quote-unquote different gender clothes, and you don't know yourself what you are, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine, because you're discovering yourself. And you don't have to owe anybody an explanation for what you're doing. Me included. Or anybody else for that matter. And I hope this video made some sense and helped some people out. I hope I made a lot of sense here. I have been meaning to do it for a while. I got kind of lazy. But I feel like I need a closing thought here. Trying to think. I feel like I was going to say something else. Basically, this is the whole thing, yeah, like, just that cisgender means you always know you are the gender you were born as. At least, right? And again, right now, as far as I know, I have never felt not like a dude. At least in any way, shape, or form, but I don't know. For I know I could be trans, I just don't know yet. But I don't seem to have those memories or any thoughts like that. But you never know, maybe you do, and maybe you suppress them or suppress them. The point is that, yeah, but that's basically what it means, that you are somebody who identifies with the gender you were assigned at birth. And trans is the exact opposite of that. that you don't identify with that gender. That was, I think, the word I was looking for, identify. And yeah, you can be cis and date any trans person. Well, you can be cis and date a trans person of the opposite sex, and you still, that would mean cis. I fucked up. Yeah, you can be cis and date anybody, really, but so you can be straight and date a person of the opposite sex that's trans and still be straight. And because people seem to have that preconceived notion. Also, the opposite of that is like if you're gay and you date somebody of the same sex, then you would still be gay. Even if you're a cis woman dating a trans woman, yeah, that's still a gay relationship. I just wanted to make that point. And that's all I really wanted to say about it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should say. I just hope I helped out. And if you need to do further understanding of this, there's probably better YouTubers that can explain it better than I could. There's probably some you could look up, but just, I hope I helped out a little bit. I hope you understand. So, thank you for watching. And I hope you have a great fucking day. Oh yeah, one last thing. I want to do a shout out to Hi Sora. And I know you're going to watch this video at some point. Probably not today, but that's cool. But hi Sora. Hope you're doing great. Alright. Bye everybody. Love you.